Okay, so the Civitates were unable to convince the Dukes to work on some kind of, hey, let's make an exchange here. Not an exchange, but let me turn those into federati and then convert them over into a hill fort and I guess a militia. It didn't seem terribly worthwhile. And this card is so tasty looking that I did a pass and grabbed some extra wealth, which is great, or not wealth, but extra resources, which is great because we need the cash. But now that puts it on the Duke's side, and the Duke's definitely does not want to let this card go because I won't get a play. And what I'm going to be doing is depriving the Scotty probably of their next action by having taken that pass. But I want to do an interception action. Well, interception's a little interesting. I have some cash to play with. Each move origin space is going to cost me 2 for an interception. Now, I'm allowed to do invite or retaliate with it. Retaliate isn't really going to help me because that only works against the stronghold. Invite, unfortunately, that could, if I get a Duke's piece over here, could turn these into a federati. Might not be a bad move, but on the other hand, it might not be exactly what we want to do. And actually, I could do the retaliate over here if I want to fight in the hills there. But I'm more interested in grabbing the resources that the Raiders have. The problem is I've denuded York, or what is it, Boracum, of troops. There's only a couple there, and it's going to be hard for me. I'm going to have to spend a lot to launch an attack, and I don't know precisely how to, sort of, I can get to any of the locations that I want to. Well, this might be harder to get to, but I can get to, of course I have troops there already, I can get to here or here and do some slaughtering, but each space that I take troops from is going to cost me two resources to grab from. And I don't believe that I can grab the Civitates in this fashion. March can do it, but Intercept isn't going to allow that. However, Cavalry Charge means that it only takes 2 cav to wipe this force out. It would only take 2 to wipe this force out. So that's kind of impressive. If I do the retaliate, 2 would let me schwack these. Of course, that's a hill fort. I'm sorry, a settlement, which could hold both of these, and then maybe I'd have to do a siege, well, an assault or something to get the retaliate to work. Now, how does that work? I'd have to do a battle. Cav can take plunder from destroyed stronghold, so I'd have to kill the stronghold. How likely am I to kill the stronghold? Okay, good question. I wouldn't be using surprise. It will be, there's no garrison. The holding capacity is 2. The Escalade defense would mean I'd take 1 hit beforehand. I could take that on my cav without taking losses. Then the cav could swing back, and I believe they have, I hope, 1 strength point each in swinging back. I'll look things up to make sure, but it might be that 2 is enough for me to knock this all out. Let's see. Interception is either 1 space away or all along the roads. So I dropped some into there. Great. I launched an attack down here. Sorry. Where did I put it? Oh yeah, down here. Those are both successful looking. We'll see, because they might get evaded. I cannot get here because I have no cav there and I can't just run there. But I could actually fight in Iceni, which I believe I'm allowed to throw these forces in if I do an interception. This is important because I could actually bring these forces in. I can't bring the militia with me. But I actually, if I spend $4, I can just wipe them out, which is pretty cool. If I only spend $2 though, I have enough to wipe most of them out, 4 of them out. They can do at most a half hit, which is enough to knock out a militia. Whether or not the cav can take that half hit, I believe it actually has to. I believe that's the way things are divided. And then these two would be able to take out the remaining 2. So that doesn't sound like a bad choice either. I spent all the Civitas resources in one of these. But I'm also going to move here. Let me put these markers here, but what's kind of weird is I am doing battles. I don't have, I don't think I have a feat that I can do with the interception, unless I want to do the invite. Costs either 0 resources. Let's see what happens. If it's a region, I place up to 3 Saxon or 2 Scotty Barbarians in a vacant site, and I get nothing. Or I can pay a resource per piece that I convert all blue federati of one nation to red. Oh, that doesn't help. I can't actually change these to federati. I can only invite them in. Okay, so that's not going to help. I'm going to put these markers just to remind me. Well, you know what? I've done all my movement. I'm going to put my white markers over here to remind me where the battles are. That way I don't have to pick up as many pieces. Okay, now let's resolve one of the battles. Let's go to the battle steps. And pre-battle, there's raiders. They can roll a d6 to evade in home terrain. This is not a fen, so no. Either rough or clear on a 6, or, well, they can't do anything else. So I need a 6 to evade here. I get a 1, they're not going to evade. Now it's a field battle. It's not a trap, or I cannot withdraw into anywhere. Okay, it's a charge. The cav and all ambushing units strike at once here. Well, the cav have 2 hits. That's 2 of these. I've just killed both of these. Or all 4 of these. Okay, what happens to the money? That's a good question. Let's see what happened. Unless the enemy before, if cav fought and its side lost fewer, I get a prestige. Okay, that's good stuff. That, I hope I have the right amount there. Counting all the prosperity on the board is not going to be easy, but this gives me a view. If I'm getting close, I'll have to recount. I don't think I killed enemies with plunder. I may either distribute that, half of it to my attacking units, but not cavalry, or I am a Briton. I can return 1 prosperity to the space. Okay, so I will return 1 of the 4 prosperity that they had to the space. The rest of it, they ate it or something. So that's 1 battle. Let's go take a look at this one. I'm in a home area. That means I could ambush on 5 or 6, or I could try to evade on 4 through 6. I don't think killing things is as important to me, so I'm going to go for the 4 through 6. Let's use the black die. These are the Saxons. Okay, so I have successfully evaded. which I believe means that there will be no battle whatsoever. And I get rid of this. Now over here, I'm in the fens again. I definitely want to try to evade here. And we get a 5, and we get away again. Raiders don't count for control. Okay. We have control of this. Nothing changed there. We gained the prosperity in addition to the prestige we gained. I should have marked that as well. But otherwise, that's all we managed. And this was, it doesn't really matter, but it actually was this. Because there was not a feat that I could reasonably do. I could do an invite, but I don't want to do an invite. I feel like I have enough troops to try to handle the situation right now. That means this card has played out. Get this card, and we got a new card coming, which is the Wall. Limitati, hinder infiltration, reduce raids that do not come by sea by -2 raiders for each target space, and that will last for the entirety of the game. Or an abandoned line. Raider placement from Caledonia gets to ignore the forts, so the wall here gets abandoned. Unfortunately, the main picks for that include the Scotty, and they will probably want to do that. It'll make life a little easier on them, maybe. I don't know. Because they're not having, they have a pretty easy time of raiding down to here. Counted the prosperity. Remember, it was up at around 80 with this. I was forgetting about that marker entirely, which only tracks prosperity. And then I've got the prestige added on, so these are actually, we're a little off. Control markers, we're still... Control is population under control. What have we lost control of? We've lost control of 3. We were at 40. This is correct. Okay. It's kind of painful. In all the coin games, it's always kind of painful with that. Now I'm faced with a tough decision, and I don't know what the answer is. I was planning on, hey, let me grab 10 wealth. That could win me the game. How many have I gone through? Only 7. But then it becomes the thing to target, right? So that's very appealing. But the other side of it is I could attack the Saxons again and gain something. If I do battle, cost me 0 wherever I have my troops, and I could do a lot of damage. It's a hard call. It's a hard call. I mean, I'm not likely to be able to hold that Britain control up, and to the end card, the epic card. However, now what did I say that was? 7 or something like that. There's like 12, 13 cards total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a chance the next card could actually be the victory. So I'm going to take the 10 wealth. I'm not sure it's the best move. It certainly isn't the best move for a long-term game, but hey, maybe I can win this real quick. Okay. That means Saxons have the next option. Now, the Saxons are going to have an option on the wall card, but, they're the second pick there. They may not get the event. So, we're going to want to go home. And I'll figure that out in a moment. Do the return command. We're going to do the return command, which is bring plundered booty home. That spaces with Saxon raiders or war bands as desired. All the plunder is traded for renown, and then you remove all the raiders there. So I'll be getting my 6 renown off of this, which is approximately what I paid, maybe a little less. I don't know. I don't remember where it started. Was it a 10 or 12? I don't know. But I'm also going to settle. That can be done with return. I pick one space with Saxon pieces out and I'll bring all others. That could be either of these. And it's going to cost me nothing, but it costs more money if I want to place warbands. If at or adjacent to returning raiders, I roll 1d6 for each such raider. On a 4 through 6, I get a warband instead of the raider. Then I can pay 3 renown to place a Saxon warband per settlement. Yeah, there aren't any. Plus, if Saxon control 1 per population, or replace 2 Saxon warbands with a settlement at an empty site and or remove 3 Saxon warbands to increase population. Okay, well, I'm not really all that excited about, I may not be creating settlements, but let's see what we're going to do. So first thing we do is we get our $6. And I'm not going to use a pawn for this. That puts me up there. Back into a decent, where I was, more or less. Now I roll a d6 for each of the raiders that I have involved. And 4 through 6s are going to be interesting. So let's do the first 3 there. I got nothing. Next 2. That sucked. Okay, that got me 2 warbands instead of the raiders. We'll look at them in a moment. And then the other one, I've got 5 again. Got nothing. I got 1. All right. Now, we did not take control away. Now we're able to, then if desired, either pay 3 renown to place 1 Saxon warband per settlement plus, well, if Saxon control, no, or, that doesn't say to pay 3, replace 2 Saxon warbands with a settlement at an empty site and or remove to add population. So I could turn this into a Saxon settlement. Jeez. Settlements are important at some point in the game, but right now I think I'd rather leave warbands kicking around. They just seem more effective towards my battle situation. Was I allowed to raid that thing? Yeah, this did not have Saxon control. Okay. So I think that's the Saxon turn there. This goes here, these go here. We get the wall over here. And Vortigern. Britain Warlord welcomes mercenaries. Place Saxon Federate, 1 settlement and 6 warbands at Cantichi's Hill Fort site in Redeployment. I don't know where the hell this is. I don't know where the fuck this is. I'm expecting it to be over here. I don't know where it is. Let's see what it says. Cantiachis. Is that this? Yeah. That would be here. Wow. I think that would just like get rid of the Roman fort. So that's pretty potent. However, they'd be Federati, which could be kind of cool. Saxon chief conquers Kent, remove all but 2 Briton troops from Cantiachi, and Saxons place a settlement and 6 warbands in the hill fort site. Ooh, well, that's even better. So we have a problem. The Saxons may well want that card. They have first pick on it, and that looks like that's going to start driving the Britain control down, because that's a population 2 area. It's going to be dangerous. Pass, but I cheated when I moved into here with the Duke's units. They could not go in there. It requires Roman control or Britain control. Okay, so the Scoti decided to take their event here and mark it with the gray side to say, hey, we're not worried about the forts anymore. They're kind of thinking about their pivotal event. It's not a bad one to kick off early. well, they're allowed to. They get a free raid in 5 targets, 3 dice with feet. Then the Saxons get to free raid 4 targets with feet. If they do, they're ineligible for the next card. One way to use this is to trump just before the epoch ends to prevent a victory over here. So that's possible. That's a possible use for the card. By giving both the Scotty and Saxons a chance to raid, they can quite possibly do a lot of damage and take away Britain control. So, is there a reason not to do it? I don't know. But I like this event, so I'm grabbing it. Of course, that's going to make me not eligible. And now I don't know what the fuck the Duke's forces are going to do. They can't intercept. There are no raiders. Which means I could beat up on these guys if I want. How do I get... I don't have any forts to build. I could replace 2 militia or a hill fort and a militia with a town, but there's no town site here. It's a hard place to keep control of. That's the problem. I can't invite into there to try to get things. So yeah, it's not absolutely clear what I'd want to do. So I'm going to think a little bit more. So I figured out what I'm going to do. I did a requisition first and grabbed $6. There's still 6 areas with both red pieces and blue settlements or whatever. So I'm able to grab my $6, and that came off the wealth, thereby turning this victory away again. And now I'm going to do a battle, and it's only in one area. Up here, he's in his home area, so he has a chance to withdraw. In home terrain, he can evade on a 5 or a 6 or ambush on 3 to 6. Well, evade means no battle. Ambush would allow me to attack alongside the cavalry. So I'd basically be able to do some damage. I really don't want to fight. It doesn't look like a good odds to me. So I'm going to go for the evade again, although it's more likely to succeed in the ambush. And I do not. It's another cav charge. They wipe me out, and that gets another point of prestige, pulling them closer to victory. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, okay. And there's nothing to siege or anything like that. So we swap over. Bring Vortigern into play here. And now the Isle of Avalon. 5 cav, go from casualties to available. That sounds really pleasing if the Dukes get to play it. However, the Picts get to go, or the Scotty get to go first, and they could knock those calves out of play entirely. Ouch. And I think they want to. It doesn't look like we're going to be hitting a real quick Saxon victory here. Control has to exceed 10, or Saxon renown has to be above 30 and at least 4 settlements on the map. So we're not really close to that. So weakening the Dukes seems like a good move. What that means is the Saxons are going to take their event, remove all but 2 Briton troops, cavalry to casualties from Kentiaki, and they get a settlement and 6 war bands there. All but 2 troops. Well, there are only 2 troops. However, that goes there. This goes here. I believe that would be control. going to the Saxons. That kills 2 population of Britons, and I believe the Saxon control is just areas control. Nope, population. Okay. That's the same as this. Well, that makes their victory conditions a little easier, the 10 control marker, right? Neat. Okay. I thought it was 10 areas, and that would be pretty fucking... No, it's... Oh, no, it's by... The other one is settlements, the minimum of settlements, but if I can get the 10 population, I'm up there. So that's the Saxons did their event, and now I don't know what to do with the Civitas, but they want to take an action at this point. We need wealth because it's important to us. We need that more than anything that we can do militarily here or there. So we're going to be doing trade and rule. Now, trade costs us nothing, but it'll cost us for extra prosperity. We get 1 resource per town in any spaces with towns, but then 2 of those spaces we get to pay a resource to add prosperity equal to the population. Now, prosperity kind of helps him, so we may not want to do that. So first I count my towns, and I can do that really easily. I have 15 towns, so I get 15 of this. Let me think about whether I want to do this. I have to do it before I do that, but with this, I pick 3 spaces with Britain control. In each space, I can transfer plunder to wealth. Well, I don't have that. Then in each space, I can convert 2 Britain resources into 1 wealth, or I could reduce Duke's prestige by 1. Or if the regions have Civitas strongholds, I can pay 5 resources and discard some refugees. Well, we haven't seen any place lose population yet. Is that right? I don't know. I feel like we should have. Fuck. Let's look back. So I ravaged. I rolled and I failed to destroy the population. Okay, that's what happened. Just making sure. There's a lot of die rolling in this game, so that's kind of an effect. Normally in the coin games, there's no dice. Okay, so I grabbed my cash. Now for ruling, I can translate. I'll be able to transfer up to 6 resources into 3 wealth, or I could just spend a wealth where there are no Dux pieces, which there are plenty of places where there are no Dux pieces, right? And reduce their prestige, which I might want to do. It's a little dicky. See, all of this turns into wealth soon. So I don't know about spending it for that, so I'm going to actually reduce the Duke's prestige by 3. Yeah. Okay. But did I want to add prosperity, and I can do this in up to 2 spaces. That could be here. I still have control there. And I wonder why I didn't fight a battle there. Let me take that back. I could have fought a battle there as well. That wouldn't have cost me anything. There's a chance to evade. I believe it was a 5 or a 6. Okay, so that's a 6, so they would have evaded and not been attacked. All right, so let me see. If I... And yeah, I'm jumping all over the place back in time and stuff to fix my errors, but I don't usually like doing that. But where I can do it easily, I will. Here, I did too much with that Dux move, and you could say, well, maybe you're kind of cheating. Yeah. So sort of. I don't know for who, though. Like, I'm not sure they really want to be there. So, yeah, let's see. What if we spend up to 2 spaces we could improve? We don't have control here. We have control here, so I'm going to spend $1 on that and move some more bucks in. Now that increased prosperity. God. Do I want to help the Romans more? Can I help them more anywhere? Could help them up here. I feel like this is for the best, but I'm a little worried about the military getting too strong. They're very close to victory there. Okay, so that was this. That means these go here, this goes here, this goes here, and our next card is the epic card. And it's going to be Magnus Maximus. Ooh, I don't think we could jump in and hit the epic because this immediately swaps in there. Whew. Okay. Can't be done in fragmentation. Bid for the purple. If desired, the Dukes pays 3 resources each to remove from 3 to 5 cavalry. One of them to casualties, the others are all out of play. Roll a d6. If a cavalry is removed, if less than or equal to the cavalry removed, plus 20 Britain resources and set to Roman rule with military dominance. Already there, plus 5 prestige. If not, or only under military dominance, if not, or if none removed, prestige -8. Okay, so this swaps here, this goes here. So the Isle of Avalon is no longer the next event. It's just gotten shifted into the next epoch. And that's the same way these things work, is they shift the card back there when you trump in. It doesn't look like either player's winning, but it could be all over. I could have screwed up by letting them remain too close, in which case, yeah, we really need to play this early and make sure that we get those massive raids in that first epic. All right, I think we jump to the epic phase, and I'm going to swap batteries, take a little break before I face that. So let's work through the end of the epic here. First, the Annona, payment and revolt. There are no federati in the game yet, which means none of this applies. Now to Imperium. Civitas may transfer Britain resources up to half their number, rounded up, of towns on the map to wealth on 1-for-1. Well, I have 15 towns. That means I can move 8. So there's 8. And we made it up there. That's the first part of the Imperium phase. Then we worry about the Imperium track, where we are well ahead, which means it's going to go over to civilian control. Britain control is 20 or less, and or total prosperity plus prestige is 30 or less. Both of those are not going to be correct. Okay, even if my numbers are a little wrong, and I did do a little bit of recount, at least on the prosperity. All right. Has anyone met their victory conditions? No. We're close. Which leads me to believe the Scoti probably want to play this. That, if one of these cards hadn't gone off, if Iceni hadn't been wiped out, whatever, we'd be in trouble. It would be over. Okay. So that's the victory phase. Now we hit the epic event. Let me see if I can understand this. It's not used in fragmentation. Bid for the purple. If desired, the Dux is going to pay 3 resources each to remove from 3 to 5 cavalry. Now, if I don't remove any, I'm going to lose 8 prestige, but I have none. So maybe I don't care. And the other side of it would get me Roman rule with military dominance. All right. Let's think about what the military dominance is going to mean for us, because that's actually really important. There's a number of things here. So for example, I'm only going to get 2/3 of my casualties. So 15, I don't know. Let's see. 2/3 would be 10 divided by 3. Sounds like 3 I get back? Yeah, I get 3 of them back. And the others would go out of play. I don't remember what other effects there are. Let's see what we've got written here. They're not all on here. 2/3 casualty. Imperial taxation is only 20, which is kind of a bonus. It takes more money, or it takes less money away from me. I think I'm allowed to seize. I think I'm allowed to seize cash. What's this full recovery? Jesus. Unfortunately, there we go. During epoch recovery, Roman rule allows the addition of prosperity to bottom and top rows of squares. Yeah. Okay. Mainly, the question is, do I want to play for getting the dominance piece? And I'm just not sure that it's to my benefit here. I'm going to leave it alone and leave myself in civilian role, I guess, because I lose the 8 prestige, but it doesn't hurt me. Okay. That puts us to revenue. Dux revenue. Increase prestige by 5 if under Roman rule, or 2 if under autonomy. Okay. That helps a little bit. Civitas, add equal to the prosperity under Britain control plus total number of towns. So this isn't easy. Counting Britain resources equal to prosperity under blue control. Well, that's not the total prosperity of 73, but I can subtract where it's not. So this goes to 69, 67, sounds to me like it. That's a lot of fucking money. Okay. So that gets me up to 69 because I was at 2. Dude. Then the imperial taxation. Britain resources is dropped by 20 because of civilian dominance, and with no effect on wealth. All right, well, we're a lot richer than we used to be, which might work out okay. Saxon revenue. Renown equal to prosperity under Saxon control. That's 4. Gets them up to 15. And Scotty, renown equal to the number of non-federati Scotty settlements on the map. That's 1. Okay. Now there's a minimum, but I don't know if that happens here or somewhere else. I'm not seeing it somewhere else. But I'm not seeing it here either. Okay, let's keep looking. Dux stores plunder, pays resources, and then redeploys cavalry and red federati. First, remove all plunder carried by the Dux. I don't see any. And add the number of cubes. Then the Dux chooses for each red fort whether to pay a resource or remove it to available. Oh, fuck. Well, I'm able to use Britain money for this, I guess. Let me make sure. I'm allowed to use the Britain resources for this. So that drops down to 40. Okay, so the money's dropping. If under autonomy, no. Dux relocates all cavalry to any spaces with forts. And then all federati. And then I'll get a fraction of cav, and we'd already decided that's going to be 3 and 2. We're not going to worry about those guys might be going back on the map. But I got to redeploy my cav. I haven't, but let me see. And that's it. Okay. So the cav has to go back to places with forts. Yeah. So I think I've done that. I think I've pulled them all out of all the areas where they can't be, and almost all of them went here. One of them went down here. I don't know, do I need 2 there? Probably not. Let's put a second one here. Probably a good reason to have a second one there too. This is, I'm trying to see the colors. This is the color of Fens. I don't think any of that is. I thought this was originally, but it doesn't look like it is. So, I don't know. I'll leave it as it is. No, this is a more valuable space. I'll put the extra guy there instead. I could pull another one down from York, but I like the idea of keeping a solid, powerful group there. Now for the Civitates, we return militia to civilian life, pay comitates, still plunder, and redeploy. First, all plunder carried by Civitates is removed. There isn't any. Then in each space, remove 1 in 3 militia there, rounded down to the available. Okay. Got to be kind of careful with this. I think it's just these 3. I think I had the rest spread out enough. Not really intentionally. Then the Civitates have to pay wealth for comitates or remove them. I don't have any. Then the Civitas must discard half of all refugees. Don't have any. They must relocate all militia and comitates to spaces with a town or hill fort. And then they get to relocate their federati. So I have to think about where I'm relocating stuff. Like these guys definitely have to relocate. I'm not sure if any others have to, but I'm allowed to. Now for the Saxons and the Scotti, each barbarian faction sends its loot home. We've already done all that for each of those. Relocates to its settlements and finds more renowned leaders. Okay, so this is where it gets reset. Each space where any Saxon units are carrying plunder, they do a return command. When the Saxon must relocate all their non-federati warlords from spaces. Okay, so they have to go to a home space. So he's going to end up down there. If Saxon renown is less than 10, it's set to 10. And for the Scotti, it's the same thing, except the Scotti renown resets to 6. So we kind of beat our renown levels. Now it's recovery and reset. In each region with any control, add prosperity equal to the population. First add the bottom row, and then under Roman rule, add to the top row. Okay, so this just fills it all up, and it'll change the total prosperity marker. Which I see becomes, again, a place where we can, so this says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put this back up to 80, and that'll be easy enough to keep track of. That stops at 80, but yeah. So the Dukes is actually in a position to win the game, except they don't have the dominance. But it wouldn't be happening now, of course. Discard all momentum events in play. This is not a momentum event. This is a, it's got another term. And no, it's not Triskeli. That's the symbol. I think momentum's the flag. That's what I remember it being. There we go. Capabilities. That's what those are called. Hey, like in the others. Shift the eligibilities all over. The next card comes into play, and a new card comes up. And I'm going to move this deck out of the way for now. Sorry. And then we have the Isle of Avalon back. And the new one will be St. Germanus. Alleluia Victory. Civitas may battle a barbarian in one space with a free reinforced +4 to reinforced rolls. Or papal oversight, the Civitas pay 10 resources. Ouch. So that's something we got to keep in mind. Of course, this is both the Britons, and this is both the barbarians. So there's a good chance that the Britons, well, the Britons get first shot at this, so they can ensure that they're not going to pay big money for that. A little bit more resources available to everybody of the different types than there were at the beginning of the game. A little bit less cav available to the Dukes, and we were already beginning to see the barbarians make an encroachment. Now, last turn was probably the turn that's the easiest for one of the Britain factions to win kind of early in the game, right? You know, it's just going to go downhill from here, and already we had that shift, but it looks like the Dukes is not in that bad a shape. Of course, the question of how many cards we went through and how much further the next deck goes and everything, that's all stuff I'm not going to go into a lot of counting for. I'm going to go more by feel, because quite honestly, I wouldn't want to play with people who are counting the decks and trying to decide, hey, is the epoch going to end now or whatever. I can understand why that would be an important piece of information to have. I was doing it before, but as the calculations start getting harder and harder, I would say, hey, the cards are just away. Don't worry about it. You know, now you're starting to face some uncertainty that you're just going to have to make a guess for. Let's load this one up because it's the end of the epoch.